Okay, hello everyone. It is 6 p.m., so we're going to begin. This is lesson 2 of Intermediate Music Theory, taught by me, Yifan, and Chen. Okay, so today we're mostly going to be focusing on memorizing the major key signatures and writing major scales with those key signatures. This is going to be a very important lesson because on the music theory test, you're definitely going to have to be able to write like major key signatures from memory. So yeah, and then we'll go over enharmonic notes and then vocab and homework. Since we're going to be writing scales today, make sure that you have a paper and pencil ready. Okay, so I'll let you guys get that right now. Okay, great. Looks like you guys are all back. Awesome. Okay, so let's go to the first topic, which is major key signatures. So in last week's lessons, we reviewed the key signatures and scales of C, F, and G major. So today we're going to start memorizing the key signatures of all major scales. That includes like all the sharps, all the flats, and this skill will help you greatly in future music theory and sight reading tests. So this is a picture of the circle of fifths. It basically tells you like the order of scales in terms of how many sharps or flats they have. We're not going to learn it this year because I think this is level 5, but if you want to do any future research, you can always search that up. Okay, so we're gonna learn how to identify key signatures by sharps first. So key signatures are composed of either sharps or flats. If the key signature uses sharps, then we can look at the last sharp in the key signature to help us determine the key. So let's look at the demonstration below. Now I know most of you guys know that this is D major, but we're gonna use the pattern on every key signature so that you guys see how it works. So the first step is to look at the very last sharp. In this case, the last sharp is a C sharp. And then you take the note C sharp and raise that note by a half step. I'm sure you guys know what a half step is. So when you raise C sharp up by a half step, you get the note D. And then that tells you that this is D major. Let's try it with this one now. So this one, the last sharp is D sharp, which means one half step up would be E major. Okay, now let's look at the last one. This one might be a bit more difficult. It's a lesser known key signature. This one, if we look at the very last sharp, it's an E sharp. So you might be thinking, oh, a half step up from E sharp is F, right? But no, you gotta be careful because E sharp is actually the same as F. I'm sure you guys know that from before. So a half step up from E sharp would actually be F sharp. So this would be F sharp major. Give me a thumbs up if you understand that. Okay, awesome. And I can't see Alvin's, but just let me know if you need any clarification. Okay, great. So we're gonna practice what we just learned with some key signatures. So I'm gonna call on you guys, but since you have paper in front of you, you can always like take notes and write this down. Okay, so for the first question, I'm going to call on Camellia. So Camellia, you can either follow the steps or you can just tell me what key this is.
It's E major.
Awesome. Okay, next, I'm gonna call on Dylan.
It's F sharp major.
Awesome. I think we have one more. I'll call on Iris for this one.
A major?
Yes. Okay, great. Okay, and then this is also very important. So since this is going to be on your slides when we send them, so you can refer to them at any time, but make sure to study this picture because it's very important to know where each sharp goes on the treble and bass clef. This is going to help you write accurate key signatures on paper for the real music theory test. So some common mistakes people might make are that they write this G sharp down here instead, or they write the A sharp up there, stuff like that. And same for the bass clef, just make sure you know which sharp is going higher, which one's going lower, and just practice to memorize that so that when you're writing the sharps on the bass and treble clef, you know the order that they go. Okay, so that's all for sharps, so let's move on to flats.
Okay, so we're going to go on the key signatures flats. If the key signature uses flats, we can look at the second to last flat in the key signature to help us determine the key. So as you can see here in the examples below, the G flat major, the second to last flat is a G flat. And then for the A flat, the second to last flat is an A flat. And then for B flat, the second to last flat is a B flat. So you want to look from left to right, and then the second to last is the one closest to the right side. And so now we're going to do some practice. So I'm going to call on you guys to answer these questions. So for this one, Alvin, can you tell me which key signature this is?
This is E flat.
Yeah.
Major.
Okay, so next, Dylan, can you tell me which one this is?
C flat major.
Yeah, it is a C flat major. Okay, sorry, there's like screeching behind me, but okay, so for the next one, I'm gonna call on Iris. Can you tell me which one this is?
G.
Okay, like G what?
G flat.
Yeah, G flat major. Okay, so here are the order of all the flats in the flat key signature. So you want to make sure that you get the order of the flats right. You don't just want to randomly write like flats on each line, because these flats follow a certain order, like how the sharps do. So just remember each one.
Okay, yeah, and following from what we just talked about, we're going to make sure you guys know the order of sharps and flats, since that's also very important to mastering the theory test. So here's the order of sharps. It goes F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And when I learned this in elementary school, my book memorized it with the following phrase, "Fat cats go down alleys eating bagels." That's memorable for me, but you guys can always think of your own phrase to help you memorize these 7 letters. And yeah, as you can see here, those are all the 7 sharps written in the right order. Okay, this is the order of flats. It goes B, E, A, D, G, C, F. So it's actually the exact opposite order of sharps, which is pretty interesting. As you can see, this one was F, C, G, and then now that's at the end. And then the order of flats can be memorized with this following sequence. It's just the word bead and then greatest common factor. So it's bead and then GCF. And again, you can always think of your own phrase if that helps you memorize it.
Okay, now we're going to go on to major scales. The levels 3 and 4 music theory tests will also test your ability to write out major scales with their key signatures. Since we're already practiced identifying the key from a key signature, we will now go to the exact opposite way and identify key signatures from a key, along with writing the major scale from that key signature. So let's practice on the next slide. So on the bottom, it's just for you to look at if you want a bit of a reference. So usually on my music theory tests, I didn't really have to write the whole scale down. I might have written like a few notes, but it's just great to practice writing the whole scale down. So identify the key signature of an A major, and then write the A major scale with the key signature below. So if you think that the A major has 5 sharps, you can just write the 5 sharps down. I'm not saying that's right, but like that's just an example. And then when you're done, you can just like put a thumbs up on reactions. Okay, I see one person is done, but I think that you guys already know the first one. So I'm just gonna call on someone. Dylan, can you tell me the key signature of an A major?
I think it's 2 sharps.
Okay, that is close. So look at the order of sharps, and then you can remember the way how you identify the sharps with the corresponding scale. So we're going to look at the order of sharps, F, C, G, D, A, E, B. So which sharp, like F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, if you raise it up a half step, then it'll become A.
Oh, 1.
Okay, so when you raise F sharp one half step up, what do you get?
G.
Yeah, okay. We're looking for A major, okay? So which one of these sharps raised up one half step will get to A?
G.
Yeah, okay, so G is which letter of this sequence?
The 3rd.
Yeah, so that's right, which means that A major has 3 sharps. Okay, so I'll just wait till okay, is everyone done? You don't have to write the whole scale like up 2 octaves and then down 2 octaves. You can just like write up like 1 octave.
Okay, I'll give an example of what you're supposed to do with a different scale. So say I had to write G major. This is for people who don't understand what to do. I would first write the key signature, which is 1 sharp, right? F sharp. And then I would write, starting from G, these notes look bad, but deal with it. And I would write all the notes for a 1 octave scale. And notice I don't need to write an F sharp for this note because it's already in the key signature.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would write for my G major scale.
Okay.
So you would do the same thing but with A major.
Okay.
If any of you guys have questions, feel free to ask. Okay, if nobody has any questions, Dylan, do you have any questions about the scale drawing process?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, so we can go to the next problem, right? Okay, I'll do this one. So next we'll identify the key signature of B flat major. So example would be to say 5 sharps or 5 flats. And then you're going to do the same thing, write the major scale with a key signature and then a 1 octave scale going up. And then say done in the chat or do a thumbs up when you're done. Okay, very good. That was perfect. So as you guys can see, she wrote the two flats in B flat major, which are B and E flat, if you guys remember the order of flats. And then she started from B and then went up to the higher B. So I think if you guys don't remember like the order of flats or like where each flat is supposed to go, when you guys are on your own, please study that slide where we gave the position of each flat and just try to memorize that. That's really the only way you can learn it. And yeah, what Ifan said, remember the order of flats as well. I think for the positioning of the flats, it's easier to remember than sharps because it just goes down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But you'll see when you look at the picture. Okay, let me clear annotations. If there's no questions, we're gonna go on to the next part. And here's a clearer picture for reference. Okay, so I think this is our last topic for today, which is enharmonic equivalence. If you guys haven't heard of this, the name might sound kind of scary, but it's actually a very simple topic that they're probably going to ask about in the theory test. So in music notation, an enharmonic equivalent is a note, interval, or key signature that is equivalent to some other note, interval, or key signature, but it's spelled or named differently. So here are some examples below. C sharp minor and D flat minor. They have different names, but they sound the same, so they're enharmonic. Same with F sharp and G flat. They're different names and they look different, but they sound the same when you play on an instrument. Okay, so thumbs up if you guys understand that concept. Okay, Iris, are you good? Okay, great. Wait, I thought we had an activity. Okay, I think the activity for enharmonic notes is in the homework. Okay, but for the vocabulary of the week, is just to study enharmonic notes, the order of sharps, order of flats, key signatures, scales, and then I think for the review session, I think we'll try to put in some like triads along with the scales and the key signature stuff, just for you guys to get like extra practice on this.